of information about all their games, and they have a StarCraft 2 Invitational Tournament. Lots of big names in this tournament. You know, Sen, White Raw, the Little One, lots of fan favorites. Today, I mean, I wanted to bring you guys some coverage of the tournament matchups, and I thought what better series to bring you than the finals. Now, I need to explain sort of how this is, you know, the context of this matchup. The way the finals works, it's what we call double elimination. So basically, it's the first player to win 2 best-of-3 series. So I'm going to tell you what's gone on so far in this finals matchup, just to you know, give you context, and we'll take it from there. Okay? So we have NEXGenius, the 9 o'clock red Protoss. And to the north, we have Loner, the Terran player, spawning as blue. And this here is the 3rd series. So Loner took the first series, the first best-of-3 series. NEXGenius took the second best-of-3 series. And this is the final series tournament on the line. It's the finals. Winner of this best-of-3 series wins 25 grand from Blizzard. It's a pretty huge deal. I'm pumped to bring this game to you guys, and let's get right into it. Loner's putting up his initial refinery, same time as his barracks. Got a supply depot close to home as well. This probe from Genius is going to force another SCV off the line. Standard opener as well for Genius. So because everything's so standard so far, I want to give you some information about these players. NEXGenius, very talented Korean player, part of the Nex clan, and actually the clan Nex, that tag, 3-letter tag, is they've actually merged with Zenith, who's you know, also a Korean clan. Now they're called Zenex. Yeah, so that's sort of where Genius is coming from. He's putting down his cybernetics core next to his Nexus as well. I'm going to turn on the health bars for you guys, and the production tab. There you go. Orbital command on the way, just about completed there. First Marine has arrived, and this probe is going to head back home. Loner, on the other hand, as of now, I don't think he has any clan affiliation. He's a Chinese player, and in fact, Loner here was the only Chinese player to qualify for the GSL Season 2, which is ongoing right now. Incredible tournament. I've been watching a lot of those matches. Nonetheless, I want to get you know, straight into the commentary here. We've got the initial tech lab going on this first barracks. Factory on the way as well. No second gas just yet, so I'm not really expecting anything too tech heavy, like, you know, no cloak banshees or you know, anything crazy like that too early on, at least, as this Vespian Geyser is still vacant. Map control sort of going to Genius at this point. His probe does have control of that Zelnaga. And I want to take a look. How much scouting has the SCV done? Yeah, it knows exactly what's going on so far. Yeah, and anyways, Sentry on the way as well. Following up that initial Stalker. Didn't even put down a Zealot. Pretty common for Protoss players to skip that initial Zealot. Especially before the patch when Reapers were super common, as Stalkers have, you know, no problem dealing with, you know, even a large number of Reapers. But yeah, so no Zealot just yet. Initial Stalker and Reaper, Stalker Sentry rather. Looks like we might have a little pushing, prodding by our Terran player Loner here. He's got a Hellion leading the way for 2 Marines along with a Marauder. I'm going to force the Protoss player back. I don't think that Genius is going to be, you know, under any super pressure early on. He can put down a force field. Put it down. There you go. And yeah, that's just barely placed well, as, you know, no units can get by there. You know, just a couple hexes over, and I'm sure some Marines could scoot in. But that's not going to be a worry for Genius here. The Hellion does make his way up. Kind of a random force field there. Tried to get that Hellion stuck, but just wasn't the case. Stalker's no problem dealing with that. We do have 2 Marines, 2 Marauders, going to take a few shots off on the pylon, but they're not going to want to deal with these Protoss forces. Robotics as well, going to get that initial Observer out. Very common to get that Observer first. Observer is just such a useful unit. I mean, everybody knows that. You know, those Protoss map hacks, as some people like to call them. Anyway, lifting off, we have, it looks like the starport is going to get switched onto the tech lab here. Using the reactor, going to pump out a couple more Marines. Pretty early expansion going down for Genius here. And no, well, we got a command center on the way. So it looks like we are headed towards slightly more of a macro-based game. Tech Lab going down on the factory as well. But you know what? Taking a look at the vision of Genius, he does know exactly what's going on. Very important. Observers can just be so annoying. It's really nice to see, you know, rather talented Terran players able to spot the observer. As we can see on the Terran vision, especially when you scroll in a little bit, you can see the observer. So sometimes Terran players can snipe them using a scanner sweep, but I haven't seen that just yet. Nonetheless, we have a Immortal actually to follow up that initial observer, and Robotics Bay has arrived as well, so we are going to see Colossi. We'll just keep a look on the production tab, see if he's going to get that that extended thermal lance to complement his Colossi. Very important upgrade. Many people refer to the extended thermal lance as the best upgrade, most important upgrade in the game. That 9 range, just so much better than 6 range. This Banshee is going to get into position. Let's see how many kills he's going to get. Probably not too many, as Stalkers can deal with Banshees pretty handily. 3 kills already, 4 to follow it, and that Banshee is forced away onto the high ground. Stimpack research on the way, and to follow that up, we are going to have siege tanks. No siege tech just yet for Loner here. It looks like he is starting to saturate his natural expansion. Going to Maynard some probes down there. Some SCVs is what I meant to say. No refineries yet, though. Still mining off of 2 gas. And it looks like an initial little strike force. Well, I certainly wouldn't call this a little strike force. It's pretty formidable, and it looks like they are going to move in. They are going to push into position, but 1 Colossus out already. An Immortal as well, very effective against the Marauders. Now the Terran army just starting to focus down the Nexus, but pushed away very rapidly. They do not like the looks of that towering Colossus. So just players, you know, feeling each other out. It doesn't look like we're going to have a big exchange here. I don't even know if there are any casualties in that initial battle. Got to get that Banshee repaired. He is sitting at 27 hit points. You do not want to get that sniped. Now, is Genius looking to push out and sort of test the waters here? Which player is going to exert themselves and go for the map control? Looks like Loner is going to have that initially, but you know what? Again, with this damn observer overhead, doesn't really matter. Genius is going to keep a close eye on Loner's army and is going to make decisions, you know, based on that, of course. Concussive shells on the way. Stimpack's almost done. 3 more barracks for a total of 5. So we are going very bio-heavy. Bioball going to be utilized for sure. Scanner going down as well. You know, costing at the cost of a mule, of course. Saturation starting to creep up a little bit at this natural, but still not where you're going to want it. I want to take a look at the income tab for you guys. Very close, 40 and 41 respectively. Of course, you still got those mules, which are going to bolster the economy for the Terran player. Right now, the food discrepancy at 5. Resources very low for both players. Always good. Both players keeping up on their macro play. 4 gateways, and it looks like that's going to be just about it for the production facilities, as Genius is going to be, you know, mining off of 2 bases and producing off of 4 warp gates and 1 robotics facility. Vikings getting in position overhead. Position so important when you're going up against these Colossi. It's, I mean, Vikings pretty strong against Colossi, but position so important. Notice how the Stalkers for Genius, you know, out in front, going to get those shots off on the Vikings. Those Marauders, that is a missed rally point, and at the cost of 1 Marauder and nearly a second one, but it looks like the medevac is going to heal him up, no problem. Still, though, Observer in position, going to know what's going on. Zelnaga in possession for Genius, putting down his 2nd assimilator now at his natural expansion. Keeping an eye on the production tab. We now do have those extended thermal lances on the way, along with another Colossus. So pretty soon we're going to be looking at 3 Colossi and getting very close to that critical value where, you know, any Terran infantry, that bio ball just gets mowed down so quickly. Gotta be careful. 1 Viking going down there. And, ooh, too bad they don't have blink. They could have sniped at least 1 or 2 more. But nonetheless, we are going to be looking at a 2nd forge as well, I believe. Yeah. Oh, he canceled that forge. He's got 1 forge here, yeah. So I guess he's not going to bother with a 2nd one. Ground weapons level 1 on the way. And Loner, it looks like he was able to snipe that observer at long last using that scan there. And is this going to be the big engagement we've been waiting for? Both players waiting on upgrades, but it doesn't matter. We are going to see an engagement here. Siege tank sieging up. The bio ball trying to move in. trying to get shots off on the Colossi, but the Colossi doing so much damage against these biological units. They are just burning down very quickly. Only one Colossi down so far, and Terran player is forced to retreat, trying to escape behind the high grass, but these Zealots in hot pursuit. Vikings escaping to the high ground, back to the main. Colossi with 9 range, going to get some shots off on these Marauders. These Marauders are not looking good in the red and yellow. The air units for Loner escape to the high ground. Random stim, losing a lot of health there, and a little bit mistimed. Colossi again, though, with that range, just poking and slicing the Marauders in half. More reinforcing units for Genius here, going to help back up his army. And both players, still just trying to poke. Loner does not want to get too committed here. He does not want to lose these extra units. But it looks like this is going to be a major push here for Genius. This is going to be very decisive. And very quickly, Loner's going to try to get in position, but it is not looking good. All the SCVs coming off the line. That is not good news. 3 Colossi here doing a lot of damage. Lots of Zealots in the front lines. Going to be soaking up a lot of the damage. Trying to get a sandwich here, but all these Marauders were splattered. These Vikings overhead, going to get good shots off on the Colossi for sure, but now the Vikings are pretty useless. These Zealots should not be attacking the supply depots. They should be heading to the high ground to take on these Marauders. That was a little bit of a missed micro there. Genius definitely a little bit more focused on macroing up, in reinforcing his army, of course, macroing more units, putting down a proxy pylon, and Loner calls GG. So that was just some dominant play by our Protoss player Genius.